Well, if you watched my last video, you saw how I got this part here done, but there's so much white around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the background so that you can really see the pig jump out. And all I do is I want to drop in a solid background. Now I haven't done anything more with this pig, and basically what I'm doing is the same thing I've always done. Just drop it in. And on these right here, I always like to have my backgrounds pretty flat. So not a lot of texture. I don't want to have all those kind of fun stuff. Now the reason why I do this, I'm going to come back over top of this, but by dropping in the solid background now, it allows me to see where I'm at with my subject. And this is kind of the standard way I've always worked, so it's kind of one of those things I've always done. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to blend this in a little bit, making sure all the surface is covered. And yeah, you can kind of see what's going on there with that. So I'm just going to come up here, and typically I'm left-handed, so I'm just going to rotate the canvas. Make it easy on myself. And like with everything, makes it kind of easy to do all this stuff. And I'm not even done down here, so this is just how I'm dropping in the background. So I wanted to show you how this kind of does its thing. And like I said, I don't like a lot of texture on my backgrounds. I want them to fall back the way they're supposed to. And so, you know, as you're watching this, you can kind of see when I take away all this white, now all of a sudden the pig becomes the focus, doesn't it? Try this with a couple of your backgrounds. Try one with, you know, a blue background, a red background, a yellow background, you know, whatever you're going to do, and just try it with all those different surfaces and just see what direction it's going to go. Now see, you might see, I don't know if you can see this, but there's some lumps in here. And when I get to I'll glaze this one more time rather than varnish, because I want to see where it's going to sit. And then I'll wind up going over top of it again. So this isn't really a complicated stage, but I can, if I wanted to, I can come in here and do that, but I'm not, I could come in here and work on the pig. But I just want to enjoy this a little bit, and I want to let it dry. Now another thing I'll do is I'll paint around the edges. But I want to get this stuff done first, because this way it also cuts out a lot of work toward the end of it. And I'm always about speeding the process up. I want it to wrap around. So it doesn't take long to do this part here. The real work comes from the next part, where I'm going to be dropping in colors that help things recede back, things that bring things forward. And I always like doing this with the pig. You know, it's like, I've always said, since I've been involved with this subject, the pig itself, that because of where they've sold and to who and to how many over the course of the past 6 years and to how many countries they're in, I've always said that if I died tomorrow as an artist, I would actually be completely satisfied. How many of you artists can actually say that out there like that? And you know, honestly, I learn new things about my subjects all the time. you know, how things move, paint moves, how everything kind of changes when you drop in a background, how the dynamics of the painting changes after you see it isolated out. Now, typically when you glaze over the front, you know what I mean? Glaze, a clear glaze is just a separation layer as far as I'm concerned. You glaze over the top for a couple reasons. One, to separate out the sketch. Two, because it fills in the pores of the canvas so you're not using as much paint as you would before. And three, it creates light barriers. But now one thing I don't do is I don't paint around the I don't glaze around the side, so I'm going to drop this here. I'm going to turn this way. Make sure I got it right. And I'm just going to go in here and if you pull your paint, you get a pretty straight line. So I don't want to I always go up at an angle because it kind of keeps a nice, you know, instead of getting a ragged edge type thing. So I'll just come here like so, pull. So that might be a little trick you might want to try if you want to paint around your edges instead of trying taping them off, because for a lot of years I was taping them off and I'd wind up getting, I don't know, I'd wind up getting an okay edge. So what you do is you go up and then you go down, and it creates a pretty even edge, so it looks like you've almost did it on purpose. How about that? Okay, and I still have okay, so a little book you might want to read. It's called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. Reading list for the week. Once you read it, everything about the way you learn think you learn how to paint, draw, and learn, and how you, if you're a teacher, how you teach, the whole dynamics changes. So that's on the reading list. So again, The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. I'm just going to set that like that. So what do you guys think? Kind of a big difference, right? The dynamics on this painting alone is the same as when my dynamics when I do any sort of formal painting. So everything you see in here is exactly the way it is in there. And we're always influenced by everything around us. So, you know, if you think you're not, you might want to rethink that. Okay, I'm just going to come up here. I have some lips on here and some edges I want to take away. I want this background to be as smooth as I possibly can. So what you're going to see is, I'm going to take away some of these edges. Never been as careful as I have with this, so yeah. Okay, so there you go. I hope this has been informational and also inspirational. Once it goes in there, then it goes in the water. Notice I don't use a palette. I didn't need one on this. Now, you might see this darkness here. That's actually underneath. But what you see actually is it kind of shows up. So once I come in here and could do this a second coat, that's going to go away. The pig's going to come forward even further. And my next one I'm going to be doing some teals and reds. And I'll drop in some quinacridone. I might do the quinacridone next because it really warms things up. But I want to let this dry so I get a good view of it. So this is the next stage of the Pig of Heaven That's what we're calling this. We're going to call this a pig of heaven. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, post them in the... I'll just turn this here. Let's see if I can't step back here and not get paint on me. If you like what you see and you want to learn a little more, post suggestions in the comment sections, and I'll try to answer those questions. I'm going to be posting these on my website from now on. I found a new way of doing it, going through YouTube and then posting it as a video on my thing. I've got a section set up there for painting videos, and no charge for them. Just go and view them. Just don't binge watch. I've had too many people do that off of Facebook, and 24 hours later, they're not even to a third of them, and they're going nuts. So guys, again, my name is Kevin, Kevin West Bowers. I'm a fine artist out of here of Arizona. So if you've got any questions, please ask. Hopefully this has been informational and also informational, one of my typical sayings. And hopefully I will capture a bunch of new people looking at my site, looking at my website, looking at my Facebook page, and hopefully this gets real interesting. So next stage done.